Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. It's 12:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The date today is Monday, September the 20th, 2021. My name is Dave McRae, coming to you live from the VoiceMann Studios in Toronto, Canada. And we got a new Halloween Kills trailer. I didn't think they were going to do it. Listen, in a normal world that wasn't pandemic, I would have said they're absolutely going to do it. But for whatever reason, a few weeks ago, I said I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're just going to roll right into the TV spots, which they've done, by the way. They did that right on cue. But they dropped another trailer, and trailer number 2, final trailer they're calling it, for Halloween Kills. Are you excited? Are you ready? Are you getting pumped? Are you happy about it? Are you not happy about it? Now, okay, so what am I going to do in the show today? Well, first of all, unlike my reaction to the first trailer that came out in July, actually it was supposed to come out in July. Came out the end of June. Some dick had leaked it. Anyway, so, but unlike that, where I walked through the entire, trailer, I went over to another screen and I walked through it like frame by frame and dissecting it, which is fun to do. It's fun to do that. I'm not going to do that today. Because sometimes it can be painstaking what are we looking at? The wall, at the end of the day, when I watched this trailer, it dropped today. You can check it out, just YouTube, Halloween Kills. First thing that comes up, new trailer, brand new trailer. Dropped today, I watched it. I like this trailer better than the first trailer. Not that there was anything wrong with the first trailer. It's a good trailer too. But I like this trailer better. I like the pacing of this trailer better. And it just feels, I think it's just a better trailer overall. Again, I'm not saying that the first one's crap. I'm just saying that I tend to like this one a bit better. So it's good. It's good. Now, be warned. I mean, if you want to stay away from spoilers, well, don't watch the trailer. That's the best thing you have to do, is not watch the trailer. Now, I'm going to put this little thing up here. Spoiler alert. Because I want people to know who are just tuning in, Dave's talking spoilers, and maybe I shouldn't watch or continue to watch. If you don't want to know anything that was in the trailer, then I highly recommend that you kind of check out at this time. I want to give you guys the opportunity and the courtesy to make that decision. There wasn't, but again, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but it's true. I think it's very important that we understand, spoilers, it's very subjective. What's a spoiler to one isn't necessarily a spoiler to somebody else. I mean, there are people that have a gigantic coat of armor, like me, to what a spoiler is, and then there are people that are wearing basically their birthday suits to what a spoiler is. I mean, there are people that think just knowing that Michael walks from left to right is a fucking spoiler. I mean, yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then there are people like me where I can pretty much know everything that happens in the movie and I'm not spoiled. I still enjoy the process of watching it unfold. I've read the script. So full disclosure, I have read the Halloween Kills script. I also know 2 people that have seen the movie. Okay. Actually, I might know more. Maybe it's 3. Anyway, and I don't mean an early screening of it. I mean like a recent sort of thing. And so I know, I kind of know what happens in the film. There are some people that find that strange. Dave, why would you do that to yourself? Haven't you spoiled it for yourself? And, I always say that for me, no. And again, different strokes for different folks. For me, I can know a lot about a movie going in and still enjoy watching them connect the dots, still enjoy the journey of watching things unfold. Because reading something on paper and listening to something reading something on paper and listening to somebody describe it to you is very different than watching it unfold on screen. So again, I still enjoy that process. It's just the kind of person I am. It could also be because, I'm a filmmaker as well. So I tend to look at things through a different lens than the average movie fan, right? When I watch a movie, I got two things that are happening. Like I saw Malignant yesterday in the theater, right? And I went with Bruce and we watched it. And, as I'm watching it, I am enjoying the movie as a horror fan. I'm enjoying the movie as a moviegoer and a viewer. But there's like two things that are happening at the same time, like simultaneously, like I'm watching things and I'm enjoying it, but at the exact same time, I'm enamored and with the shot and the shot selection. And, I'm like, I wonder if that's a Dana Dollier on track. I wonder if they used a jib for that, or I wonder if that's fascinating. I wonder at the exact same time. And it's not hindering my experience at all. I'm enjoying watching the movie as well as thinking about how the film was made and what the filmmakers were doing and what lenses they were using at that moment. And, that's happening at the same time. The average moviegoer is not doing that, right? So it's very person specific. It's very subjective to the average person. But I just wanted to give full disclosure that I know a bit more about the movie than maybe the average person does. Okay. So watching this trailer unfold, there were things I saw in it where I'm like, yep, that's in the script. Yep, that's what I expected to see that. But it's still cool to see it presented to you, right? Because you can imagine it in your own mind, but when you see it presented to you, it's either yay or nay, right? It's either going to be a hit or a miss. And I enjoyed what I was seeing. So full disclosure there. Okay, so for those of you that don't want to know any spoilers, this is your last chance to check out. So I will say this, I enjoyed the energy of this trailer more. I enjoyed the pacing of this trailer more. There's a couple of flashback moments. We know there's a flashback in this movie. And there was a TV spot that was released last week where they showed, again, spoiler alert. Okay, this is your last chance. There was a TV spot last week where they showed just a glimpse of the flashback where Michael is standing on the front lawn of the Myers house and Haddonfield police have him at gunpoint, and you see Dr. Loomis behind him on the porch of the Myers house. It's like, like a second, right? You see it, Well, they show that again in this trailer, but the way that the way the trailer's cut, I don't think this effect will happen in the movie, but I think for the purposes of cutting the trailer together, they cut it like this. So, I could be wrong. I stand to be corrected. But in the trailer, we start with sort of I don't want to say medium close up, but almost like from a torso to the top of the head. And again, it's fast, right? That's all within like a second. We start with sort of a semi-medium close-up shot of Myers from 78. And if you were to pause it, like I did, at the right moment, you get a good look at what the Myers mask from 1978 is going to look like. And all you Halloween fans out there, myself included, because that's important to me, right? I want to know, what is this thing going to look like? How does it look? I mean, I've had people tell me, no, but I want to see what it looks like. But it's very fast because what they've done for the trailer, and I imagine it's just for the trailer, they start there, but they quickly kind of, pull out, right? So it's like, bump, they pull out fast. That's what she said. I know there's people in the chat right now going, that's what she said. Anyway, so, but they do that. And, but if you pause at the right moment, you can definitely get a pretty good shot of what his mask from 78 looks like. And, I'm not going to bring it up here. I'll let you guys go over to the trailer to watch it for yourself. It's about 3/4 of the way through the trailer. You'll see it. And, it looks good. Like, it looks good. But what I like more than the mask itself, the mask has got to look good, right? The mask has got to look good. But as a gentleman who's playing Michael Myers in the 1978 flashback sequences, and he's a gentleman by the name of Aaron. I forget his last name, but he's a gentleman by the name of Aaron, younger guy than James Jude, obviously. And I don't know how tall he is, but the stature and the way he's standing is very Nick Castle. And again, this is like hardcore nerd, sweaty nerd stuff. This is sweaty nerd stuff, right? But you see that, and the way he's standing, because Nick Castle, when he just stood You know, when he was just standing there, not holding a knife, not really holding, he's just kind of standing there. He always had his hands sort of in front of his thighs. Hardcore Halloween fans and Michael Myers enthusiasts will know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a specific sort of stance that Nick Castle had, and his hands were kind of like in front of his not on his thighs, but in front of his thighs. Like they weren't really at his side. I mean, there are times where they're at his side, but hardcore fans know what I'm talking about. And you see that here. You know, you see that nuanced detail, those little subtle details that help to make you believe that this is Michael Myers from 1978. Now, again, I haven't seen the movie yet, so I haven't seen him moving through the space and through the light from one moment to the next. So that will be a big thing as well. To you know, do I believe that this is Michael from 78? But by all accounts, from those who've seen the movie that I know, there's no reason not to believe it. So just as important as the mask to me is the stature and the stance and the way that he is moving through the space. So I like what I see there. I think that's cool. Seeing Dr. Loomis on the porch behind him is cool. He looks at, again, it's obviously not Dr. Loomis. This was a guy who who kind of looked like him, who they got. You know, again, he looks a bit thicker than Dr. Loomis in terms of like a bit broader. But again, you know, I'm seeing, like, I buy it from just that glimpse. I buy it. I totally buy it. So that was cool. That I noticed because that's different. That's new information. That's sort of that's like oh yes, the mysterious flashback that nobody knows anything about, and you know we haven't really seen much of, and you know so I'm focusing on that first because that's cool, you know, because we really have yet to see anything about that, and it plays such an important integral part in the film. I like the way the film's edited. I like the use of the shaped stocks, you know, and then of course the Halloween theme and you know, the seeing sort of like, you know, I like the idea of showing the original cast, you know, where you see like, you know, we are the surviving members of the, you know, whatever. And then you see like, you know, older Lindsay, younger Lindsay, older Marion, younger Marion, you know what I mean? I imagine they didn't do that with Tommy. I have no doubt some people are going to be like, why didn't they do that with Tommy? Well, I think it's just because, you know, I was going to say Michael B. Jordan. Anthony Michael Hall obviously is not the original actor. So I think they could have done it anyway. I think they could have shown him, but I think they really want to kind of show you that contrast, that comparison. These are the original actors. This is not just Lindsay Wallace. This is the same woman who played her in the 1978 original. This is the same, you know, woman who played Marion Chambers in the 1978 original and in 1981 and in 1998 in Halloween H2O, even though those two don't exist. But then again, at the same time, they did show Lonnie, and this isn't the same actor who played Lonnie in the 1978 original. But I think it was just their idea of showing you a quick glimpse of something you've never seen before. So you could make the argument and say, well, why didn't they show Tommy with Michael? That doesn't make any sense because they showed Lonnie and I forget his name now. Longstreet, I think is his last name. He's not the actor that played Lonnie in the original. But you're seeing Lonnie in a way that you've never seen him before. You're seeing Lonnie from a perspective you've never seen him before. You're seeing him lying on the ground on the sidewalk in the 70s looking up at Michael. You've never seen that before. That's part of the flashback. So I think that's why they probably did that, because it's new, you know, and it's kind of like, oh, well, that's cool. I haven't seen that before. You know what I mean? I haven't seen that character from that perspective before, you know? So they just made that choice. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, what is there to say? You know, it's a good trailer. I like it. I think I like it better than the first, even if it's just marginally. Again, but I will say that both trailers have, kudos. I don't know, what trailer houses, cut them. But kudos to them because both trailers have great energy and great pacing to it, which I really appreciate. And, you know, this is, you know, the second chapter. This is carnage. This is absolute mayhem and carnage. That's not a spoiler anymore. That's not a secret. That's out there now. This is absolute balls to the wall, blood, guts, and gore carnage. If that's what you want, that's what you're going to get. So that should please a lot of people. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, I'll leave the spoiler alert on there anyway, because you never know, with me, I tend to bounce around and shit. But I will say in terms of reminding people, there's going to be a lot of people out there that, are going to be upset of what they showed in the trailer. And it's important that we understand, everybody in this chat room right now, there's this 221 watching at this moment. You're all, I would assume you're all Halloween fans. You're all looking forward to this movie. And I've said this before, but I need to say it again because it's very important. We must understand that, and generally speaking, okay, and Universal is famous for doing this, but other studios do it too. Yes, it's no secret that trailers tend to show a lot, right? They tend to show a lot. But it's important we understand that generally speaking, it's not that it's not for us at all, but these trailers are not for you. They're not for you. You are locked and loaded and ready to go the second a Halloween sequel is announced. Okay, I'm there. It doesn't matter. They could show you, the poster could just be a black poster with orange text that just says Halloween Kills. And, you may not like it. You may be like, well, that's kind of lame. That's kind of dull. But you're still going to be there, right? Marketing is not for the hardcore fans. I mean, it is because we're part of the fans. But I'm saying, but it's not at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it's for the average moviegoer that is a casual fan, a casual horror fan. That's who it's for. They need to show, look at it. Look, don't you think it's... That's who it's for. That's who it's for. Right? It's to get the person on the fence. It's to get the average people that maybe are not horror fans generally, or they're not Halloween fans generally, but 'tis the season, and they kind of get into the spirit, and they're like, you want to go see a scary movie? Yeah, let's go see a scary movie. What do you want to see? Oh, I don't know. Oh, look, there's a movie called Halloween. Oh, I like it. That's who it's for. That's who it's for, generally speaking, right? So that's why they show the stuff they do. And they're competing with the streaming services as well. Jason Blum has said that. He's actually said that. That's not my opinion. He's actually said that there's lots of stuff we're competing with. And most average moviegoers like to stay home. Most average moviegoers will stay home rather than go to the movie theater. It's not you they're trying to get to the theater. It's Bill and Joan or John and Susie or whoever that don't go to the theater that much. That like a good horror movie every now and then, but don't even know there's a fucking Halloween Kills movie coming. That's who it's for. Because believe it or not, this is a bubble we live in. This space we're in right now is a bubble. It's a bubble. It's a Halloween bubble. There's the horror bubble. There's the movie bubble. Then there's the horror bubble, the different genres, right? Then there's different subgenres. Then there's like the Halloween bubble, and we're in this bubble, and we tend to think that, it's more important than it really is, or it matters to more people than it really does. And, I can't tell you how many times I've read a Bloody Disgusting article. Yeah, Bloody Disgusting, one of the top horror websites in the world, have read a article by them about the new Halloween films. And I will read the comments on Facebook or the comments on Twitter. Now, you would assume these are horror fans that are following them. They're horror fans, right? I can't tell you how many times I've seen a comment that's been like, they're making another one. They're making another one. Oh, didn't she die? Didn't she die at the end of the... You know what I mean? There's a Halloween bubble. Just because you're a horror fan doesn't mean, A, you give a fuck about Halloween. And it doesn't mean that there's even a Halloween movie coming. There's a broad stroke of the different bubbles, right? There's the Friday the 13th bubble. There's the Halloween bubble. And then sometimes people cross over bubbles, and sometimes you can be in 3 different bubbles at the same time because you just have that level of interest, right? But not everybody loves everything to the same degree. Not everybody's a Michael Myers fan, folks. And not everybody cares it to the degree that we do. So we're locked and loaded and ready to go day one. It's not for us, right? The trailer could literally be... Halloween Kills. And we'd be like, yeah, you know what I mean? That's us. Well, we're there. We're there. The moviegoer is going to be like, what the fuck was that? Next. I want to stay home. You know what I mean? That's not who it's for, right? So that's why you see it to the degrees you do. You see the marketing, the campaigns to the degrees that you do. And they show the stuff that they do because they want to get those people. They want to show, come on, look at this. Wow. No, where is he? There! Ding, 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 ding. It's like, and you as a fan are going, oh my God, it's like I've seen the whole movie. And the average moviegoer is going like, holy fuck, I want to see that movie. So just a reminder to remind people that that's what's going on, right? That's what's happening. And I get it. I can see it from both sides. I certainly can understand why, as a Halloween fan, you don't want to see that. You want to see those things unfold before you in the theater, right? I totally get that. But you have the choice, right? I mean, it's presented to you, and they're not saying you have to watch it at gunpoint, but because you're such a hardcore fan, you're going to watch it anyway, and then you get mad about it. I gotta watch it. Fuck! I think you're mad at yourself. But anyway, so I mean, what is there to say beyond sort of the general idea of this trailer? I think it's now I will say there's again, spoiler alert, good, it's up there. There's a quick glimpse of 6-year-old Michael Myers. You see a little glimpse of 6-year-old Michael Myers. Now, for those of you that have read the script, or maybe you're somebody out there that has actually seen a screening of the movie, you know what that is. So I do know, unless they've changed it, but I do know the context that surrounds that. So it's interesting to see that. There's also a moment where they obviously do unmask Michael Myers. This is, we no longer, I mean, we've seen her attempting to do it. Well, we've seen the mask on the ground. He's unmasked. My only, of course, as you can imagine, if you've been following me for any length of time, I'm sure you know what I'm going to say next, which is, I hope we don't see his face. Now, I could probably find out pretty quickly. I could probably send a text and find out if we see his face, but I don't want to know yet. I don't want to, because I don't want to get disappointed before I've seen the movie. I'd rather get disappointed while I'm watching the movie. So I don't want to know that quite yet. And when I mean by see his face, I mean like see his face. You know what I mean? I don't mean like you kind of see it in shadow or whatever. I mean, I get that. And we see that in the trailer. I mean, there's a shot in a couple of TV spots where Michael is out of focus. And in the foreground is Karen's hand with the mask. Come on, come get your mask. And we see kind of the mask. And then in the background, we see Michael out of focus. Now, in the movie, do they rack focus? Right? Or pull focus. And for those of you that don't know what that is essentially changing your focus. So, the object in the foreground is in focus, the object in the background is out of focus, and then they rack focus to reverse that. And then all of a sudden, the object in the background becomes in focus and the object in the foreground is out of focus. You see that all the time in films. So they change the focus, they pull focus. And, I'm kind of like, so are we going to see like, come on, get your mask. And then they rack focus and all of a sudden, to the shape, and now he's in focus and we see him unmasked. I'm kind of hoping we don't do that. Or they do that, but his face is still really in shadow and you don't really see it. I hope it's like they keep him in shadow. There's also a scene in this new trailer, or a shot, I should say, where Karen is running away from the Myers house. And if you look closely, it looks like there's cops on the porch. But anyway, you see Michael, unmasked James Jude, taking a walk across the property after her. And he's in shadow. Like, again, like this is a trailer. So these clips are very, very quick, like 1 second, 2 seconds at most kind of shit, right? But you do see him unmasked, walking after her. Or yeah, I guess he's walking after her. She's running and she's got the mask in her hand. And, you don't really see, like you can tell it's James Jude Courtney because of the head shape. And it looks very similar to kind of how he looked in the, at the beginning of the first film. Now, a lot of you guys might say, well, Dave, he was unmasked in the first movie. Yeah, he was. It was something I didn't like. I wasn't a huge fan of the first film, the 18 film. I thought it was fine. Like, I thought it was good, in terms of a very well made, competently made. Kudos to the filmmakers. It's not easy making a movie. And I thought it was a good modern day horror film, just not necessarily what I wanted out of a Halloween movie. I didn't think it was a very good Halloween movie. And there were some creative choices, as you know, I've talked about it ad nauseum on this channel, that I just would not have done. I would have done differently. That was one of them. So but you can tell it's the same. They're shooting it kind of in the same way. So, if he's walking across the property, across the road, and he's always in shadow, and you can tell he's unmasked, and you can kind of tell because you kind of see the top, because James Jude is bald, right? So you kind of see, the top of a bit of a, the light hitting the top of his head or something, okay, all right. But I don't want any fucking bullshit Michael Myers Halloween 5 shit where we see any fucking tears. Uncle, let me see. Like, what the, nothing like that. I don't think we're going to get that. I just don't want to see his face, like really see his face with any sort of clarity, close up, extreme close up, or a close up shot, which is like from the torso essentially to here. I don't want to see that. I just don't want to see it. It doesn't mean the movie's going to be awful if they do. But again, that's something that as a Halloween purist, as a big fan of the original sort of intent of the character and what I believe makes the character work, I hope they don't do that. Now, at the same time, I know that this movie is balls to the wall, carnage, blood, guts, and gore. Well, that's not really Michael's MO, at least the original inception of the film, of the character. That doesn't mean that the character can't evolve, and the character can't, become more violent, of course. And I understand that. I mean, that's the thing that people have to understand too, is that, I look at Halloween from two different perspectives. I look at Halloween as its own, the original film as its own thing, because that's what it was. Its original intention was its own thing, right? It has a complete story. Laurie has a complete arc. Michael's gone at the end of the movie, not to set up a sequel, but to bring the moral and the message of the film home. And as I've said many times, it's like a 90-minute Twilight Zone episode, or, that's what it is. It's a complete contained, self-contained thing in and of itself. But then they do the sequels, right? So when I talk about the original intent and the original idea of, the shape and all that, I'm always talking about that first movie, like the idea of him, of what that original intent was. But it's not lost on me that, you make sequels and obviously you have to expand things, open things up to keep the narrative going. I understand that. You have to do that. I think they could have kept it a little more self-contained with Halloween 2 than they did. I don't think the brother-sister arc is necessary at all. It doesn't really serve a purpose in the movie because we never see Laurie finding out that she is the sister. We don't see that. So I just don't think it's necessary. It's more for the audience. It's more just to give a reason to everything. I don't think it was necessary at all. But anyway, I've talked about that too. So I like the trailer. I do. I'd love to know what you guys think of it. Comment below and let me know your thoughts. If you're watching after the fact, let me know your thoughts on this second trailer, whether you've watched it or not, what you thought of the flashback, the glimpses of the flashback, the shots of Myers in the flashback, the overall tone of the trailer, the overall presentation of the trailer. How did you feel about it? What did you think? Does it make you more or less excited? Has your excitement changed? Are you more excited now than you were before? Or are you just as excited now as you were before? Maybe nothing has changed. Maybe you're just like, nah, I feel pretty much the same way I did. Or maybe you're not planning on watching the trailer, but you watch me. And maybe that's how you get your fix. Maybe you're like, well, I'm not going to watch the trailer, but I'm going to watch Dave talk about the trailer and just imagine kind of what he's talking about. And I don't feel like it's been spoiled. Maybe you're like that. There's people that are definitely like that. But I'd love to know your thoughts on what you saw. But yeah, I mean, it's cool to see, an extent. We also saw this in a TV spot, but the sort of the extension, more of an extension of the car scene with Marion Chambers and everybody in the car, and how he jumps onto the car and he smashes the window. I mean, that's what he does. That's fan service. That's cool. That's cool. To see that and to see that unfold. I love the shot of him standing by the car with, the head in hand and the knife. That's cool. And if you look closely at that, I don't know how big your monitors are because some of you might be watching it on your phones, but I have a 32-inch monitor in front of me. And when I put it full screen, that shot with him standing by the car with the knife and the head, it's like, where? There he is, and he's just kind of there. If you look closely, you could actually see Marion in the car. And she's just kind of sitting there, like I imagine that this is that he doesn't immediately go after I mean, again, I don't know how it's cut together, but I would assume then, because everybody in the car looks alive at that moment, that he doesn't go after the kids or Lindsay at that moment, because it kind of feels like he would, right? There he is, run! And then you would think that at that moment, he starts across the, the field after them. I don't think he does. Unless, again, it's fancy editing, because that's what they do. They can they cut certain things together that, because you have to remember, like that, there he is, run. Yeah, it's hard to explain, but it all depends on how they cut it together, the order for which it appears in the movie and how they're cutting it for the trailer. Because just because something looks like it plays out a certain way in the trailer doesn't mean that's the way it plays out in the actual film. And they do that because it's to manipulate you. I know that's a bad word to say, but that's what it is. It's certain shots and certain moments cut together well for hype and for flow to get you excited. So her going run isn't necessary. I mean, that might happen after he kills, if he does, everybody in the car. You know what I mean? Or there's a commotion in the car, and then she's like run. Like, you know what I mean? It might not happen immediately after she sees it. Like it depends on how they cut it together, right? But the point I'm making is that if you look at him standing by the car with the head in the hand, everybody in the car is just kind of sitting there, so I imagine he then turns, jumps up onto the car, smashes the window, and then all hell breaks loose, at the car. And then you would think at that moment that that Lindsay and the kids run. I mean, it's entirely possible. I'd have to go back and look, but it's entirely possible that the car scene doesn't happen in front of them, that she's going, run. It's a completely different shot that she's talking about, but they splice those two together because they work well together for the purposes of a trailer. That's entirely possible as well. I mean, there's things we did that with It's Me, Billy, where we would kind of splice some certain things together and you think, oh, she's looking at this, but in the actual movie, she's not, it's just the ebbs and flows of how to cut trailers and how to market and how to manipulate your audience into thinking certain things. It's a whole art in and of itself in a lot of ways. So, but it's cool. It was a cool trailer. I liked it, but definitely if you are somebody that wants to know nothing about the movie, don't watch it. Please, for the love of God, do not watch it. Don't watch it because you have no one else to blame but yourself. This is my house. Right? This is my house. You've opened the door and walked into my house, and this is what I'm talking about. And if you're upset what I'm talking about, I don't care. I could not care less. Like literally, could not care less. It's my place. You've walked in. You know what to expect. I've even put a spoiler alert up for you. You know what I mean? So you have to start taking ownership and responsibility for your own willpower, for Christ's sakes. If you're somebody out there that is like that just gets spoiled at the idea of the color of his shoelaces, well then maybe you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. So just don't watch anybody, anyways, let's go to the chat room for a little bit and see what you guys are saying. I know some super chats did come in, so let me just go over to YouTube Studio and see if I can get that, because I have no doubt the YouTube Studio probably, when I go over to the other thing, that's probably not going to show me it. So let me go to the other thing to make sure it does show me it. And here we go. Okay, a super chat. Kevin McAllister sends in $5. Thank you, Kevin. Says, I'm all hyped up after watching it and shouting the Halloween theme all hyper like you do, Dave. Do. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome to hear, man. Cypress Pro Wash sends in $4.99. Just no comment, just sends in $4.99. Thank you, buddy. Julian Salgado sends in $10. Thank you very much. Says, what's up, Dave? Looks like they're doing exactly what you said you didn't want. In the trailer, you see Michael at gunpoint by the cops with Loomis behind him. Yeah, it's true. Let me say this. So, obviously, I've been aware of this for quite some time because I read the trailer. I read the script a year ago. And so I've known about this scene for a long time. But again, how things are executed on screen can be very different than how you read it, right? Because you are imagining something in your own mind. You're either going to the best place in the world or the shittiest place in the world. And then when you watch it executed, you're like, oh, actually, you know what? That's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be, or, what have you, right? There's the new, what lacks in text in a script form can be nuance, right? Those subtleties that fill out the experience. So, yeah, yes, it's not exact, but what happens after that, how it plays out, and what we see or not see really will define whether or not you see me a month from now complaining about it and saying, I don't understand why they did that. I don't think it's necessary to do that. And I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want, for those of you that don't know, I don't want you guys to know anything beyond that. So yeah, I was aware of it, but it's not again, that doesn't mean that if I had written the script myself or with a team and I was directing the movie that I wouldn't have a flashback. But I have to see it. I know a lot about it already, but I have to see it, how they present it, how they execute it, to know whether or not I would have made the same creative choices or different creative choices. Having a flashback in and of itself isn't necessarily the problem. Although I've never been a huge proponent of it, because you're going back and playing in a like you're changing how somebody's going to perceive the ending of one of the most iconic horror movies in movie history. And so that's either going to work or it's not. There's no in between with that. There's no, yeah, kind of work. No, it either does or it doesn't. And so it's, and they know that. I mean, I'm not saying something that they don't know. They're professionals and they know that. And I would imagine that the same level of care has been put into that. However, we also know, this is true, I'm not making this up. We also know that David Gordon Green and Danny McBride contemplated with the idea in the original, in the first movie, in Halloween 18, there's a reason why Laurie's bedroom looks like the bedroom at the end of the 1978 film. Have you ever noticed that? Now, most of you probably know this already, but if you watch the 2018 movie, when Laurie is searching for Michael and she's got the shotgun, right? And she's closing all the doors and she finally enters her bedroom. Well, pay attention to the layout, where the bed is, where the balcony is, where the closet is. It's exactly like the room in the Doyle house. Well, that was built that way. That's a soundstage. That was built that way on purpose, because they were going to have the ending of the original movie in the first movie. And they were actually going to have Michael kill Dr. Loomis. And Laurie was going to be the one that shoots him off the balcony. I'm not making that up. Now, I think it was Laurie that was going to shoot him off the balcony, but Dr. Loomis was going to die there. And Laurie was the one that was going to have, I'm not making that up. That's out there. Like, that is out there. You can search for it. Bloody Disgusting did a whole thing on it. And it was John Carpenter that stepped in and said, why do you want to change the ending of my movie? No, don't do that. It's completely unnecessary. And he's right. Don't do that. Don't do that. So these are the same people that, it's like, what? Like, you're literally changing. It's one thing to do a flashback. Like, it's one thing to do what they're doing now, adding on, but to go in and actually change, like, you're actually changing what happened. So you're almost rendering the original film completely moot. Like every copy that's ever been created, all that, like, what? How is that? That's true. That's true. I'm not making that shit up. Thankfully, they didn't do that. So, yes, you can say, well, I'm sure they know what, I'm sure that, but this is the same team that almost did that. So, we gotta remember that. I can't wait to see it. I've always said that I have a feeling that I'm going to have a great time watching this movie because, I've sort of put my expectations aside, and I'm going to treat this movie like an amusement park ride, a fun-filled, nostalgic amusement park ride, where I sit in, I put the bar down, I'm like, let's go, woo, yeah, and I'm just having a good time, and maybe for somebody like me, that's how I have to treat it, because if I don't, I might be too hard on it, but for those of you out there that are huge fans, that you want death, destruction, blood, guts, gore, kills. If you're that kind of fan, then you're probably going to love this movie. It's probably going to be your favorite Halloween movie since the original, maybe of all time. And it's not a secret. I'm not spoiling anything. I mean, it's out there now. It premiered at Venice. It's out there. It's out there now. I mean, the subtitle for Halloween Kills could easily be the subtitle for Venom. Let There Be Carnage. I mean, I'm telling you, you could copy and paste that over to Halloween Kills, and it fits. There's death, destruction, carnage, the highest body count in any Halloween movie ever. Maybe all combined. Like I'm not, again, this is not spoiler shit. This is out there now, you know? So if that's what you want and that's what you're looking for, then I think you're going to be satisfied, really. Like if that's what's most important to you in a horror slasher film, right? So we'll see. We shall see. But I like the trailer. I like it. There's a lot of good Halloween moments. It feels Halloween, you know? And what I'm seeing so far from the cinematography, I'm digging it. So I appreciate the trailer for that aspect of it. AK sends in $10, says, I wasn't going to watch this, but that speaks to my willpower today. Well, there you go. That's just it. Michael actually looked creepy in this. I thought this trailer alone was more entertaining than most of the full sequel films. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's not a very high bar, to be honest with you, but yeah, no, for sure. What else we got here? We got Corey Novak sends in $1.99, says, it's your fault, Dave. Yeah, totally. It's totally my fault. Totally my fault. Thanks, buddy. Fast Forwards 289 sends in $4.99, says, what's up, Dave? Totally agree. I don't want to see his face, and I'm kind of concerned how even he loses his mask to be without it. Well, it's alluded to, you know, we kind of see Lindsay Wallace struggling with him, and I believe it may be Lindsay that unmasks him. You know, because we see at the end of the trailer, and we've seen in a couple of the TV spots, somebody struggling with the mask, and it's kind of like on the verge of popping off his head. And I think that's Lindsay. It could just be how the trailer is cut together. It could just be that. But yeah. It might be her. It might be her that does it. Justin Goodrich sends in $5. Thank you. Says, given that this is a trilogy, do you think Halloween Ends will lean more towards the style of the original, more suspenseful than action-packed bloodfest? To answer your question, where are you here? I want to make sure I got it. Goodrich. Well, I don't know for sure, but what do we know? Well, we do know from the Total Film article that David Gordon Green has said that Halloween Ends takes place a few years after Halloween Kills. That's interesting in and of itself. And Halloween Ends is a smaller, more contained film. So I think the answer is yes. Now, whether the film will be like the original, I don't know. But certainly, is it going to be balls to the wall, bloodshed, carnage, wild, crazy as Halloween Kills? No. And that's not a spoiler. That's in the Total Film magazine. It's out there now. And as far as I'm concerned, when shit is out there, you know, I mean, maybe on the day it's out there, you kind of want to wait. But I mean, that magazine was released like months ago. So, I mean, you know, like, sorry, it's out there. So we know that. So I think it's going to be a smaller film in feel, in tone, in size, more nuanced, not quite as crazy. Does it mean you're not going to have death? No, I think you'll have kills. You know, it's a Halloween movie. It's a horror movie. But I think there's the theme of the film. I think the subtext and the theme, I think, is going to be more kind of, you know, we're bringing it home now. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe there'll be a trial. You know, maybe there'll be, I don't know, maybe it'll be more contained like that. Maybe it'll be, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I'm just saying that expect a different tone than H Kills. Halloween Kills is your roller coaster. You know what I mean? That's what it's going to be. So, yeah. What else we got? What do you guys think? What you got? And again, folks, if you're watching after the fact, we got about 300 people in here. When the stream is done today, comment below and let me know your thoughts, whether you liked it, whether you didn't, whether you watched it, whether you didn't, what you did like, we didn't. Be mindful of spoilers, please. It's completely unnecessary to, you know, verbal diarrhea. Just give me a general sense of what you thought. you know, and whether it made you more excited or less excited for Halloween Kills coming out. Tabitha Short, Tabitha! Woo! My great moderator Tabitha says, isn't that pretty obvious, Dave McRae? I mean, for anyone who watched the 78 and 18 movies, is it pretty obvious? What are you talking about, Tabitha? Is what obvious? You may be right. You may be right, by the way. Matthew Fressy says, what some people consider a spoiler is laughable. Well, it's just fandom. It's the world of fandom today. I mean, I talked about this on one of my shows the other day, and I talked about this a couple of times on a few other channels. There is this, I giggle when I see fans, generally speaking, fans get so emotional and so upset. And, you know, when somebody gives, you know, a bad review, and again, I'm speaking generally, not all fans, like, you know, Halloween Kills didn't do all that great coming out of Venice, right? I mean, it did fine, and you know, half liked it, half didn't. But it's funny when I see some fans get so upset, you know, like they've just insulted their wife or something, you know, and it's like, well, you haven't seen the movie. Maybe the reviewer is right. Now, listen, is there something to be said for, well, it's Venice. Are these critics Halloween fans? Are they horror fans? Are they slasher fans? And if they're not, could that be a part of the reason why it didn't jive with them? Absolutely, that exists, absolutely. 100% it does. If you don't have a Halloween fan, if you don't have a horror fan, if you don't have a slasher fan, and they're critiquing the movie, yeah, of course that can play into it. But not every negative review is that. You know, not just because somebody doesn't like the movie or thinks the same things as maybe some of these critics doesn't mean that they don't know what they're talking about. You know, you've yet to see the movie. Maybe when you walk out of the movie, you might be like, yeah, I liked it, but yeah, they were kind of right. I mean, who knows, right? And Rotten Tomatoes, as I've said many times, it either means something or it doesn't. You can't cherry pick when it means something and when it doesn't. Either reviews mean something or they don't. And as I've said many times, you have to remember, you don't just look at the score, read the reviews. Because let's say I'm a Rotten Tomatoes critic. And let's say Tabitha is a Rotten Tomatoes critic, right? And if Tabitha was to give Halloween Kills a 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10 is pretty good, right? That's pretty good. That's very good. That's amazing. If I give Halloween Kills a 6 out of 10, did you know my 6 is still a positive score? My 6 out of 10 will still have a tomato beside my name. And Tabitha's 9 out of 10 will still have a tomato beside her name. According to Rotten Tomatoes, it means the same thing. A 6 out of 10 means the exact same thing as a 9 out of 10. But that's kind of a big difference, isn't it? That's a difference between like 90% and 60%. That's a big difference. You know, so you might want to read the article to find out why. Because there are many things, obviously, I didn't like in it that Tabitha did. Or it didn't, you know, so like you got to think about that. Don't just read the overall score. You know, you got to read the individual articles. And as I've said many times, remember that Rotten Tomatoes, there are people that are well-informed cinephiles who know their film history, who are good critiquers, who understand the film structure, story, narrative. Absolutely. But there are also people that are approved that don't know their asses from their elbows either. And you can tell by the surface level simplicity of the writing. You know, you can tell that they're just, I don't even know what this is. You know what I mean? Not everybody, but certainly they do exist. So always look to Rotten Tomatoes as just a gauge, like the sun. Don't stare into it, just kind of get a sense of it. You know, you're like, oh, the sun, it's sunny today. You know, you don't, you know, go outside and go, oh, look, the sun. Remember when Donald Trump, when there was the eclipse and he's at the White House and he's like, and he's looking without any glasses. Don't be like that. Okay, don't be, just get it's a sunny day. I got a sense of it. Okay, well, I got to go outside to see kind of how I feel. Is it my kind of sunny day? Is it too hot? Is it too cold? You know, I got to go out. Just get a sense of it. Don't worry so much about it. But understand that if you are going to, well, you can't have it both ways. You know, you can't bitch and complain when the critics don't like your movie, but praise them when the same critics do. You know, it's like, well, hang on a sec here. You know, it's more nuanced than that. You know, so anyways, I've said that before, but I find those things fascinating and interesting, how fans, the general idea that fans get so emotionally attached, you know, and ownership and offended, you know, and it's like, and I've whittled it down to the idea it's tribal, it's teams. You know, I think you don't necessarily think of this consciously, but I think there is a team mentality around it, you know, that you cannot measure films. I mean, you can measure quality in the sense of, you know, shots, you know, writing, development, you know, like you can measure the technicalities of things. But whether you like a movie or not is completely subjective, right? Completely subjective. And the only thing we can measure is really box office. And I think a lot of fans, again, you don't necessarily think of this, but a lot of fans see box office as, you know, they want their team to come in first. Halloween came in first. It's my team. My team came in first. Because unless you have a back end deal for a percentage of the box office, or you made a giant bet, as I said, you know, in one of my previous shows, it doesn't matter. Who cares? They're still going to make Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends is coming whether kills, bombs, or not. It's coming. They're well into pre-production. They're shooting in January. It's coming. I guarantee you it's coming. You can take it to the bank. So don't worry about it. It's fine. And they didn't, putting it on Peacock, they didn't remove the theatrical experience for you. They just also gave you a streaming option. I mean, I could understand if they said it's not going to theaters, it's going only on Peacock. Well, then, because, yeah, okay, that sucks because they're taking something away from you. But they're not doing that, you know? And I just think a lot of fans, you know, it's this Venom versus Halloween, and we want this and this. Look, are there some fans that do understand how box office works and what it could mean for future films? Sure. But I think at the end of the day, I don't think that's the vast majority of people. I think the vast majority of people just get it's like sports. They want their team to come in first, you know, or politics. You want your team to come in first. And when your team loses or something happens, you're like, fuck it, you know. And I mean, there's a section of the population out there that if Halloween Kills won the box office, they would get up in the morning feeling validation, like it's validation for their fandom. We won. Yeah, we won. You know what I mean? It's true. It's true. I guarantee you that when you break it down and you start to look at it from a sociological perspective, that you can start to figure that this is part of it. This tribal kind of thing. Because at the end of the day, who gives a fuck? Who cares? You know, you have no stake in the game. You have no dog in the fight. So what does it matter? Just go and watch the movie and enjoy it. You know what I mean? Anyway, that aside, that's how I'm starting to kind of see it anyway. Okay, a couple more super chats came in. Oh, and what did Tabitha say? Tabitha just, Laurie's bedroom. Oh, Laurie's bedroom. Oh, I see what you're saying. No, but it's true. It's true, Tabitha. What else did you, what, I gotta go back and see what you, I think it's pretty obvious, David. I mean, anyone who watched it. Oh, yeah, no, but you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many people, Tab, if I can call you Tabitha, didn't know that. That didn't realize that the room actually not only looks like it wasn't just made to look like the Doyle House bedroom. It was going to be the Doyle House bedroom. It's crazy. But see, you're astute, Tabitha. You've got those laser visions. You know, fuck is that mom thing you've got? You know what I'm saying? Sweet Tea sends in $5. Thank you, Sweet Tea, for the channel, my friend. Be safe, my friend, too. You as well, Sweet Tea. Yeah. Sweet tea. I think I almost said sweet too. Sweet tea, and the tea is sweet today, as we can clearly see. Thank you very much, and very glad that you're doing better. The horror counselor says, Dave, I'm actually quite surprised at how much they held back in this new trailer. For me, they sort of spoiled a major thing in the first trailer with Koff's death. Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, they showed enough. There's only so much you can show. Christopher Nelson was right when he said, when the first trailer came out and people were complaining that they showed too much. And they're right in the sense that they did show a lot, but because there's so much in this trailer and there's so much death and carnage in this trailer, you know, if it was any other ordinary slasher, then the Halloween Kills trailer that was released at the end of June would have been like, you know, it would have been like the whole movie. You know what I mean? Because the average slasher gets what? Like, I don't know, 7, 8 deaths. You know what I mean? Like it's maybe 10 if you're lucky. I mean, you know, maybe, you know what I mean? Well, this is like way beyond that. And so when Christopher Nelson was like, no, guys, no, you haven't, don't worry, you haven't seen anything yet. He's right. You haven't. And this trailer. I mean, really at the end of the day, when you look at the second trailer, there's definitely new shots, 100%. But when you break it down, when you really break it down and you try to look at it objectively, it is, it's stuff that was in the first trailer. It's just extensions of it. They've added to it. You know, it's not a completely repackaged trailer, but certainly, and there's new shots, absolutely. But it's also, there's shots in there that I've already seen in the 9 or 10 TV spots that they've already dropped, right? So it's almost like it's a combination. This trailer is a combination of the first trailer and the TV spots. And they've just kind of put it all together in a 2 minute and 16 second trailer, right? But when you, again, it's how it's packaged. Like sometimes things can feel new or completely new, even though if you've watched all the TV spots and you've watched the first trailer, you've probably watched 95% of the second trailer already. Do you know what I mean? But and you don't know that, like you're not thinking of that. But if you were to go back and watch all the spots, and you're like, yeah, maybe not 95, but at least like 80 to 90%, you've probably already seen. But you put it together in a different way, in a different order, with a different soundtrack. It feels new, right? It's no different than repackaging the same fucking movie with different box art. You know, it's the same movie with the same special features. You know, maybe there's one extra TV spot on there in the special features, whatever, but it's new box art, so it feels new. It feels like I've got something new. You know what I mean? It's that kind of shit. It's that kind of stuff. Because that like that shot with Loomis on the porch and the police with Myers at gunpoint, that's already been out there for like a week or 5 days or whatever. That was in one of the TV spots. So do you know what I mean? Like now, if you hadn't seen the TV spots, that might seem like it's new. The only thing I now the shot of young Michael in the clown costume, that I haven't seen yet. I haven't now but that could be in a TV spot and I just haven't seen it yet. There's a bunch of them out there now. And there's more to come for sure. I guarantee you. And some of them will be repackaged and just in slightly different orders. That might be out there already. That was new. I'd never seen that before. That was new. I know about it because I've read the script, but seeing it, I was like, you know what I mean? Like I was like, shit, right? So yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I liked it. You know, I mean, it's what I expect, but I liked it. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see the movie. It's a Halloween movie. Of course I'm going to see it. All right. Orlando Slasher 1978 sends in $1.99. Thank you, Orlando. Says that flashback shot got me emotional and so hyped. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of it. There's the flashback. Let's just put it this way. The flashback in this movie ain't no flash in the pan. That's for sure. Fast Forwards 289 sends in $4.99 and says, I like the trailer and liked what I've seen of the Myers house, which is a soundstage, by the way. That's not actually, they rebuilt that and it looks fucking fantastic. I totally buy it. Totally buy it. And I'm excited to see the movie, but will admit I could have gone without this trailer. And why'd you watch it? Because you can't help it. You can't help it. They suck you in. They suck you in. And the studios rely on people like me to spread the word. The studios right now are going, Dave McRae's doing our deed. Dave McRae's doing our job. I am doing God's work. Maybe that's the devil's work. I don't know. They're like, yeah, put it out there on all those little Halloween channels. We'll get online and they'll do our work. Yeah. That's what's happening. It's totally what's happening. But I know what you mean. Julian Salgado sends in $5. Thank you very much. Random question. What do you think of the Mummy movies with Brendan Fraser? I just got the trilogy and they actually hold up well. Great movies. I've only seen the first Mummy and that was when it came out, like years ago, like 1999 or whatever it was. And I haven't seen the others. I'm not a big fan. I'll say that. I'm just not a big fan. Not a big fan. Freddie T says, hey, Dave, are you liking the whole crowd chanting part and the Laurie survivors line? Yeah, I don't not like it. Never really thought about it. You know, evil dies tonight. You know, yeah, it's fine. And Laurie, I mean, you know, Laurie's got the you know, the Loomis lines, right? The poetic dialogue that sounds cool. You know, she's got a few of those in this movie. And Evil Dies Tonight. Yeah, I mean, you know, it makes sense. Doesn't bother me. Yeah, I think it's fine. Frank Riker, my man, says, I can probably guess some of those scenes might be cut from the movie. Oh, yeah. We never really truly see the scenes in the trailer in the movie, cough, H-18 ending. Yeah. Well, and again, it's important to remember, too, that there's a lot of fans out there that think that, you know, studios are deliberately being, and again, I mean, it's not that they, you know, it's impossible to do this, but trailers are usually cut. Now, again, COVID's a different thing, okay? You know, when we go back, like, you know, let's go back to when the world was normal, okay? Under normal circumstances, you know, it depends on the level of film and shit, but trailers are cut long before the movie is finished. Long before the movie is finished. So sometimes you will see things in trailers, shots from scenes that don't appear in the movie. And it's not because the studio is trying to mislead you and produce false marketing and psych. You know, it's not to say that's impossible. You know, there's dickwads out there, but I just mean generally that's not what it is. It's that the trailers are cut, you know, months, sometimes year, like a full year, you know, before a movie is released. So as the movie continues to be edited and go through drafts, if you will, different cuts, different edits, sometimes those shots from certain things that are in the trailer end up getting cut from the movie. So when you watch the movie, you're like, well, that shot wasn't in the trailer. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, they tried to fucking put one over on me. You know, and it's like, no, it just means that the trailer was cut like in June when the movie was just being assembled. Like they haven't even finished the picture lock yet. You know, so that's entirely possible. And I guarantee you that there likely might be a few shots from that we've seen in the trailers that don't end up in the movie. And sometimes there's certain shots that are shot just for the trailer. Now, again, it doesn't mean you take a lot of time on it, but sometimes that happens. Sometimes there's certain, and I can tell you it does. We did it with It's Me, Billy, too, where sometimes there are certain things you shoot because you know that's a good trailer shot. You know what I mean? And maybe, and sometimes a second unit will do that, or a third unit. You know, we'll go and get like shot, like in the It's Me, Billy trailer. There's a shot of the camera showing the staircase of the house, right? And the camera was on a jib, which was on a track, and we're pulling it, we're doing this, and we're going up the stairs. Well, that shot does appear in the movie, but two girls are in the shot walking up, you know, the stairs. But if you watch the official trailer, nobody's in the shot. It's just showing the case. Well, we shot that specifically for the trailer. We're like, we got to get this with nobody on it, just this nice shot of the trailer. Now, I'm not saying that in big Hollywood films, they spend a lot of time doing that. Time is money. There is a schedule that you have to be kept, or, you know, has to be kept. But there are times where that is the case. Sometimes they do shoot certain things because they know it's going to work well for a trailer. They may or may not use it, but like, oh, this would be a great way to open, you know, that, or, you know, whatever the case is. Sometimes that happens too. So yeah, no, it's very common to see shots in trailers that do not end up in movies, but generally it is because trailers are cut long before the movie is finished and that shot just doesn't end up in the movie, you know. Steve McCoy says, Dave, have you heard the 2 tracks Carpenter released for the Kill soundtrack? And what do you think of them? I've heard the whole soundtrack. When the soundtrack leaked about a month or so ago, I was able to get my hands on the entire thing, and I like it. Yeah, and I do like those 2 tracks that you were talking about, Rampage and something else. I like it. Yeah. It's different. It's different. Especially some of the, I don't want to give too much away, but I'll just say that there's definitely some differences. It's definitely different for sure. Okay, we'll go for just a few minutes here, a few more minutes, because I got to go, I got 2 dudes tonight as well. So I got to go get some lunch, and I think I got to do a bit of grocery shopping. Leanna Beveridge, am I saying that right? Beverage. I'm phonetically trying to, I think I got that right. Anyway, Leanna, I think hopefully I'm saying that right. Thank you for the questions, or maybe it's just a statement, but says, I don't want to watch too many trailers after the 2018 trailer ruined the closet scene. That would have been an amazing moment watching for the first time. I agree totally. Yeah, no. And I completely understand why some people don't want to watch too much. Totally understand it. Frank, my man, $5. Frank says, Dave, will they release an entire box set of the franchise after ends, or be dickish and release just the DGG trilogy? And say, I could see both. I could totally see both. I think they're going to release an entire box set with everything. And it's going to be like, $250 or something ridiculous like that. But it wouldn't surprise me if Universal wanted to release the DGG trilogy, David Gordon Green trilogy. That wouldn't surprise me. But I'm kind of leaning more on the entire complete set. That's what I'm leaning towards. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if Frank, you or Darren, by the way, Frank and Darren, for those of you that don't know, one of my two mods here have the Slaughtered Lamb Movie podcast. I'm not saying this because they're my mods. I'm saying this because I think these guys do a fantastic fucking job. I wouldn't say anything if they, I'm not contractually obligated to talk highly of the shit they're doing on their channel. But if you have not subscribed to the Slaughtered Lamb Movie podcast, please do. They're awesome dudes. They talk about shit that we don't talk about here on the channel. I was on their show this past weekend. The first episode of that is up on their channel. We're talking some of the biggest movies of 1989, summer of 1989, like Indiana Jones, Batman, See No Evil, Hear No Evil, A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, Friday the 13th, Part 8. It's on their channel now. So Frank or Darren, if you want to drop the link into the chat room, please do. I want to see if we can get these guys to 400 subs by the end of September. That would be amazing if we could. I think they're at like 350 now. And again, I'm not just saying that. I know it sounds like they're your moderators and that's what. No, I mean, if I didn't feel that way about it, I just wouldn't say anything. I would quietly go on their show and, as a sort of a thank you for being mods and, being friends and, whatever. And I just wouldn't, I wouldn't promote it. I wouldn't do that. I genuinely really like what they're doing over there, and it's continuing to grow. Smart film guys know their shit. And like I said, they're talking about stuff that that generally you don't see people talking about, which I like. They do like top 10 Halloween shit. They gave away a Friday the 13th box set like a couple of weeks ago. Just saying, not saying they're going to do that all the time, but I'm just saying they're doing fun shit, contests, trivia. It's fun shit what they're doing over there. So I've said it many times. There's times where they'll do like a topic and I'm like, fuck, that's such a good topic. Why didn't I think of that? So anyway, please do, because it's fun stuff. And check out the most recent episode. I'm on it. And we're talking some of the biggest movies of the summer of 1989. And it's only part 1. They got a part 2 eventually coming as well, which is great. Oh, there it is there. Yeah. Slaughtered Lamb Movie Podcast. Yeah, folks, trust me, you won't be disappointed. It's fun shit over there. All right. 108. Okay, we'll go to an hour and 15 minutes. So like 7 more minutes. I don't think I missed any super chats. I don't believe I did. Again, if you're just joining us and you want to watch the trailer, please watch the trailer. Comment below and let me know your thoughts after the stream is done of what you thought of it. Mind the spoilers. Try not to be spoilery. You know what I mean? But just let me know. Has it made you more excited, less excited? Are you the same? Do you not give a fuck? Are you one of those average movie fans that maybe you're not a big Halloween fan? Maybe you're a horror fan, but you're not a big Michael Myers fan when these trailers have made you pumped. Like, you're like, you know what? I'm more of a Freddy guy. I'm more of a Jason guy, but this is like, I want to fucking see this shit. I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you as well. Comment below and let me know your thoughts there as well. I want to hear you guys as well. All right. Tyler Moreland says, Dave, in your H-18 review, you said that you didn't like seeing Michael's face in the opening. Correct. But in the 78 film, you can see Myers' face at the end of the film. When his mask comes off. Thoughts? Well, I think what it is it's the environment for which we're seeing it, right? And the presentation of it. It's like when I say that I appreciate, a couple years ago, I said how I wish there was more blue lighting in the H-18 film. And understandably so, I understand. Some fans took that to mean that, Dave just wants, the entire film based in blue light. And it's like, well, no, you can't do that. You can't base the whole movie in blue light. That doesn't make any fucking sense. What I mean by that is a more cool color temperature, more of a daylight balanced, cooler color temperature at night rather than a warmer tungsten balanced temperature at night, right? That's what I would have liked to have seen. I don't mean you just base the movie in this blue hue. That doesn't make any sense. So when it comes to that, what I mean by that is when we see Tony Moran, Michael unmasked, it's at the end of the movie. We're in a different place as an audience. We're in a different place for the character. It's the climax, right? All shit has broken loose. The cat's out of the bag. And it's the presentation of it. It's still in that darkness and that light. It's like, who is this creature? Who is this kind of thing, right? When we're introduced to James Jude Courtney, love the courtyard, love the idea of that and the symbolism of like the chessboard and, love all that. Love the cinematic language that they are presenting here. But James Jude Courtney is broad daylight right out there. There he is, and he turns, kind of see his eye, and, we could tell that, he needs to go to, Just for Men hair treatment. Now, again, it didn't ruin it for me because they handled it with class. They handled it pretty well, right? They chose certain angles. They were nuanced with it. It was creepy. It was a creepy scene, It wouldn't have been what I would have done. You know what I mean? It's the same thing when we see him put on the mask for the first time, right? He closes the trunk, he puts on the mask, the shot is through the windshield. It's a great shot, in and of itself, great shot. But it's during the day, it's during broad daylight. And that whole scene at the gas station stuff, I would have tried to figure out a way to get that at nighttime because I would have had the same shot, maybe not, but if I had to keep the same shot, through the back of, the car, through, the back window, and it's at nighttime, and maybe there's like a lamppost. There's like one lamppost shining light down on his face, and he closes the trunk, and you just see one side of the face illuminated because that's the last we remember him looking, and now we're being reintroduced to him looking the same way. You know what I mean? It's not that it doesn't work the way they did it, but just imagine closing that trunk and only one side of his face is illuminated. It's nighttime. You know what I mean? He closes it. It's like, whoa, fuck, there he is. That's the last time I remember, like that's it. Like that's the shape. You know what I mean? Those are just differences in creative decisions. One is not wrong necessarily. It's just when I think of sort of presenting the shape as a force of nature and as an enigma, and I wouldn't want to. Like, yes, he is a man. Yes, he is. But I think, walking that balance, I want to see more of that balance. And so things like that. So no, it didn't ruin the movie for me. But I think that's the difference. That's the difference. I didn't mind it, and because it's kind of like this weird kind of thing. You know what I mean? It would have been different if she had walked into the room and Tony Moran was lying there unmasked and she walked up to him and looked at him and we just see him there like this, or, then it's kind of like, do you know what I mean? And it's fleeting. It's so fast too. It's so fast. So I think that's why it didn't really bother me in the ways that it did. Hopefully that made sense. Robert Kitzmiller sends in $5, says, do you think the flashback of Michael being captured on the lawn will be cinematic tableau like from the opening 78? I don't want to say anything. That's not yes, that's not no. It just means that there's things I'm not I'd have to go read the script again. There's things I'm not. Okay, let's put it this way. Would I like that? Yes. Is it possible? It might be. I'm not sure. So yeah, keep that in mind. All right. 1 more minute to go. 1 more minute to go in the show. Don't forget tonight, Two Dudes. I'll post about that later, or soon. I'll have some lunch first and then I'll post about it. Evil Alex says, seeing him years later in the beginning in the asylum didn't bother me. The whole film was about being a monster back. Myers, the unmasked human, becomes the boogeyman again years later. I liked it. Yeah, that's a good interpretation of it for sure. Machete Slasher, says, where is Brackett in the trailer? He's not there. I don't see Brackett in the trailer. He's in the movie though. He's in the movie. But he wasn't in the trailer. He wasn't in both trailers. That's cool, though. They're leaving... it's nice to see that they're leaving a little bit of surprise for the audience, even though we know he's coming back. All right, folks, listen, that's going to do it for me here on this live AMA. Oh, fast forwards, 289 goes hard into the paint. Dave, off subject, but have you seen the Buddy Holly story from 1978 with Gary Busey? And if so, what'd you think of it? I really enjoyed the movie. I have not seen that movie, but I wouldn't mind checking it out because I like Buddy Holly, so I'll have to check it out. Thank you, fast forwards, for sending that in. Thank you to all the super chat questions that came in today, some of the non-super chats that came in today. Thank you to my great moderators, of course, Frank Riker, Tabitha Short, Darren Sands, and Chris Baber. Really appreciate you doing what you guys do. Don't forget tonight, Two Dudes and Some Bullshit with Tony Michael, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And comment below and let me know your thoughts on the trailer, folks. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Are you more pumped? Are you less pumped? Be mindful of spoilers. Try to be inconspicuous when you're talking about certain things, or give a spoiler warning, or, whatever the case is, so people, can at least have the option to not click more if they can. If you can do that, I'd really appreciate it. And let me know your thoughts. I'd love to know. So I guess I'll talk to some of you guys later tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate it, guys. Alrighty, I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.